I've got it now. Hi there, Brian Cressy, Awesome Voice. I am doing a live view because we are having a little bit of technical difficulties. So just be patient and listen to me. But we do have Jimmy Ross and we have DJ Scatter George Walker. So we got that going. Okay. Hi there. And welcome to the Weekend Eve. I am Brian Cress, the Awesome Voice. Coach 24, my brother with another mother, Darwin Penny, he is out of town on doing his job, so he is not here tonight. But tonight we do have the CMFL, which is Central Midwest Football League, a semi-pro league. The owner and commissioner of it, Jimmy Ross. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing wonderful this evening. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And running the show, behind the scenes, Mr. George Walker, DJ Scatter. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Other than I'm eating, I'm just fine.
Absolutely. So, Sunday was the Super Bowl. And so everybody was watching it in anticipation to see if Chiefs would go back-to-back. And then they did. They ended up winning. Everybody goes to Dick's. Everybody goes to Raleigh. They're anywhere where you can get a T-shirt or sweatshirt or a hat or whatever to get merchandise that says the Chiefs are the world champs. Monday was awesome. Tuesday was awesome. Everybody is preparing for the parade. The parade comes, it is awesome. And then it happened. 2 fools, and they are juveniles, so they are under the age of 18, decides that they're going to take matter in their own hands because somebody is dissing them and shoots off a lot of ammunition, rounds, killing one person and injuring 22 other people from the age of 6 to 47, sending them to hospitals. I had prepared all week, for my show. I had talked with Mr. Ross on Monday. We had a great talk. I asked him to come on here. And we are, later on in the show, we will be talking about the CMFL, the Central Midwest Football League. But we were going to talk about the Chiefs. We were going to talk about what happened, the great things. And I had stats out the yin-yang that I could tell you. And you know what? After yesterday, I just was in a totally different zone because first I heard it, I was shocked. Then I heard it, and I was angry. I was angry that out of 1 million people, roughly 1 million people, that was out there to celebrate a celebration, not only for the team itself, but for the fans of Kansas City and anybody else that came in from out of town to come see the Chiefs celebrate their championship. We had a few people embarrass us, frightened us, and worst of all, showed the nation something that whether we are or we are not, we're going to be identified by this incident. And I just don't understand why this happened. Why did these people, and actually it's 2 people. They killed a woman. She was going to the parade. She was on her radio station. Her name is Lisa Lopez Gavin. And, she was excited. I don't know her. So I am imagining she's excited representing her radio station to talk about the Chiefs. And maybe with the opportunity that she could run in meet one of the players. They could come in and say hi on her radio station, and it would be an awesome day. And then she would go home and tell her husband and 2 kids how her day was, how awesome it was to go be down there, celebrate the Chiefs championship, the party. Maybe this person was acting fool or this person had a great speech, and she doesn't get to go home to her 2 daughters and her husband. That is a travesty. It is unfair. And I know Bill Gates' number 1 rule is life is rough, deal with it, or life is unfair, deal with it. But this is baloney. And I'm trying to say it as nice as I can. I don't want to say anything wrong here. So I had been thinking about this for the last couple of days. Last night I get off work and my daughter texts me and says, I need a head count because of my son's birthday party. We're going to eat at Jose Pepper's out in Belton and need a head count. I had totally forgotten about it because my mind was completely somewhere else. But I'm glad that I was able to go there because I came and I hugged my daughter. I hugged my grandkids. I even hugged my mother-in-law, who she's not a bad person. It's the mother. It's the ex-wife that I deal with. But it just shows how fragile life is, and that we couldn't have a simple party celebration and have a great time without something going wrong. That is just it's unbelievable, and it is just totally wrong. Jimmy, would you like to put your thoughts into this?
First thing I would like to say is my thoughts and prayers go out to all those that were injured and the woman that lost her life. But I will also pray for the young man that caused that tragedy. And my prayers go out for this city. We've seen it more and more in our lifetime that these incidents are taking place, not just here, but all over. And it's always unfortunate and sad. No matter how many times it happens, you just don't get used to it. I don't really want to point fingers on blame and go too deep into it. I've spoken with so many people about this situation. It's just hard in dealing with that. And not even just on a large scale, it happens to even on a smaller scale, just in some neighborhoods. It's always sad when someone loses their life, especially in this manner. So once again, I will be praying for all those that was affected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, even though Darwin is not here, Coach 24 is not here, he had posted something on Facebook before the Super Bowl. And I'm going to read this to everyone. With all that it is being done today, has been done this in preparation for the Super Bowl. So everybody's preparing for the Super Bowl. I have a question. What are you doing to prepare for Christ's imminent return? What if he comes back on Super Bowl Sunday? Will you be ready? First things first. Love you, Facebook family. So everybody was preparing for the Super Bowl, and there were people that went to church and prepared for that. But, you don't think about it until yesterday. And then you do start thinking about, you pray. And you hope that everybody is okay and everybody is everybody goes home. And out of 1 million people, one person did not get to go home. And you go, well, that's a good percentage. It could have been a lot worse. Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. But it could have been a lot better, too. That person could have gone home. And you've got kids the age of 15 or from 6 to 15 that is in a hospital recovering, and even if their wounds, their physical wounds, heal completely proper and you don't ever see them again, they will never be mentally the same. And I'm not saying that they won't be stronger than ever or worse than ever, but they will never have, as some people said, they lost their youth. They lost their childhood because you grew up. There's an episode on MASH, and I will say this, where B.J. Honeycutt was going to go fishing one day, and he was in the helicopter. And so there was a guy down, injured soldier, and he was going to try to bring him up. Well, they were firing at them, and the guy operating the helicopter said, cut the cord. And he was going to go down and get him, and he had to cut the cord and leave him there. And he said, at that moment, I became a soldier, because at the time he was just a doctor. He was healing up everybody. But he said at that moment he became a soldier. And in a sense, these children have become a soldier. They have grown up. And here was another sad thing. I was listening to a radio station, and Nick Wright was on it, and he was talking about his experience yesterday, because he, even though he is from Kansas City, he is a nationwide personality now, one of the biggest sports personalities that we have. And he said that he was talking with a woman at the hotel when him and his family was safe. And the woman hugged him and said, I brought my kids and I brought my grandkids there. And she said, my 14-year-old granddaughter knew what was going on. The adults didn't, because the adults have never been trained for this.
Right.
I haven't been trained for this. Now you have, Mr. Ross, Jimmy, because the fact of your job.
Correct.
You would think that in my job as a postal carrier that I would learn something like that, but I don't. But in school, you learn that. I never learned that. When I was in school, I learned how to avoid tornadoes. That was the worst thing that we had to worry about. We didn't have to worry about some strange guy coming in or some strange woman coming in with heavily armed ammunition and wanting to hurt somebody. But in today's life in the United States, which a lot of people try to say we are the greatest, which sometimes I question, and this is not politics. I know this is a sports show. But when something happens like this in life during a sports event, then this is more important than the sports event itself. And so you have to you don't want to realize it. You want to kind of put your head in the ground like an ostrich and think, oh, this will never happen again. And the sad thing is,
it could happen anywhere.
When?
At any time.
I mean, 2012, Sandy Dale had those kids killed in a school. 2022, another one. Columbine, 25 years ago. In 2020, we had COVID. And so people were dying because they were sick. They had a disease. And so people were doing everything they can to try to fix this, to get a serum, to get a potion, whatever, to fix the problem. But yet we can't fix the problem of mass shootings. You're talking two juveniles that had guns. How in the heck do they have guns? Parents should be taking care of them. Now, I understand. I don't know them. I don't know where they live or anything about them. All I know is 2 juveniles should not be carrying weapons, and they had weapons, and they used them. They utilized them and used them for a bad purpose. Just it hurts, and it makes me angry that you have something beautiful happen, whether it's a school event, whether it's a football event or a parade or whatever. I mean, next month we've got St. Patrick's Day. So what is going to happen next month at St. Patrick's Day? Are we just going to all lock ourselves up inside and not do anything? No, we should not be afraid. But the fact is, we are afraid. We are afraid of our futures, of our children that we grow up, we raise to try to be great men and women. And we do things by providing them in sports and activities and choirs and go to church. And then you've got the 2 people that does something totally wrong. And I know there's opposites. When there's a good, there's a bad. And we try to keep the bad to a minimum. But can't we try to keep it to a nothing? Can we try to make it all good and no bad?
Well, Brian, there's always going to be bad, and there's always going to be good. The thing about it, I truly indeed feel that there's more good in the world than there is bad. It gets overshadowed by the bad. There's acts of kindness happening daily that don't get talked about.
Yeah.
And it almost goes back to you do everything right, and then you do something wrong, and then people remember what you do wrong and not all that you've done right.
Right.
So I refuse to give the bad all my attention. Now, I don't live my life in fear, and I don't teach my family to, but I teach them to move cautiously, because you can do everything right and still get caught up.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mr. Walker, you were down there at the parade. Now, Mr. Jimmy Ross and I was not there, but you have actually been there all 3 of the Chiefs parades.
Yes, absolutely. It had been cold days on, if you remember last year and then the time before it, the first one that they went to, they were pretty chilly. We were bundled up. Everybody was kind of huddled together and sharing in the misery of it. So you had fun and camaraderie. I was on the parade route, though. I was not at the Liberty Memorial. Every time that I've been down there, we've been on the route where we see the players coming down, and you get a little bit closer feel with them, and people are throwing them footballs, and they're throwing them back, and things like that are happening along the way. So it's kind of a community type of atmosphere there, and that's always been a great time. The only thing that I would say is that as I told you guys earlier, this year there was even more people down there, because in the first 2 years, if you notice, they didn't compare it with the Royals turnout because they said the weather was bad and they just didn't have as many people when they took the picture and all of that. Right. Well, this time it was a lot warmer. I mean, we were down there you had to have a jacket or coat on early, but it was definitely bearable.
Right.
And we went out there in it, and it was quite a crowd, but they didn't get rowdy over where we were. My wife did have a hard time getting back from the restroom back to where we were because the crowd had gotten so thick that she said you just couldn't even get around the corner.
Right.
With people blocking, and it was just the sidewalk became immovable. And she said at one point everybody was kind of pushing. She said she felt her feet kind of coming up off the ground because she was between 2 people and kind of getting carried around. And she said she got around there and then came on down where we were. But I was a little bit worried. A couple of the people even standing with me, they said, "Well, your wife's been gone a while." I was like, "Yeah, And then she came and she said, "Oh, it was a monster." And another guy that came over, she had saw him and he was standing behind her and said, "Yeah, getting around that corner was real rough." So it was a lot of people, a lot of people, but it wasn't on the parade route. And I take it even at the Liberty Memorial. For the most part, it was okay. They say it was over with when this happened. So, I don't think we should judge the whole event by something that happened in the last 5 minutes. Right. Although that makes an impression.
Right.
That is what the news is carried. Instead of all the celebration, all the good time, boom, as one of the news people said, it was a lot of celebration and then chaos.
Right.
At the end, which that is what people remember is the chaos. They don't remember the good times. We tend to remember bad more than we remember good. I mean, and my thoughts of it by the time I had left, because they come and pass by us, it was over with if you were on the parade route by noon.
Right.
And we had left and nothing had happened and was at a restaurant and at 8 before we got a couple of texts of people saying, you guys down there or something like that. So we didn't have any idea that anything bad had happened at that time. So I don't know that you want to cancel parades. Things will happen. It doesn't guarantee that they're going to happen again. You can't tell anybody at any time you're going to be totally safe, though, either.
Correct.
And sometimes I think we take it for granted. We have the police presence, we have all that, so nothing's going to happen. But it's only by God's grace that this hasn't happened before. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Nobody's being searched at any place. It's the only place that is kind of protected is up close to the stage because they've got it fenced off, and only the VIPs get in there. But all the way up to the Liberty Memorial, I mean, there's just people, and it's just an outdoor event. So I don't know. I just really, I hate that it happened, but I don't think it should be something that we change our whole way of life behind and say you can't have parades anymore.
Absolutely.
That just would be a little going too far. Yes, we want to implore people to be on their best behavior and be on the lookout and all of that, but I would hate to see us say that you can't have a celebration, a citywide celebration. I mean, what would happen? Will they stop the 4th of July events down at Liberty Memorial? I mean, there's lots of people there. It's outside. Nothing has happened, but that's not to say something couldn't happen.
Right.
So we have a lot of outdoor events, a lot of big celebrations with people around. And 4th of July is one I think of, that there's a lot of people out at night and there's fireworks and everything going off, and we don't think about canceling them. Right. Even with the celebratory shooting that the one young lady lost her life that one year, I think it was in Independence, from somebody firing the gun, and it Blair. Because they came up with Blair's Law behind it.
Right.
But you couldn't say, well, we're going to stop 4th of July gatherings.
Right.
So it's a hard thing. I mean, it really hurts. I'm saddened because now all the talk is about this shooting.
Right.
And I know how other cities feel the way we used to talk about them, because I guess Kansas City now, we've got the egg on our face. I mean, when I think it was Philadelphia, somebody had a celebration and they turned over cars and
Detroit,
pulled down light
LA,
poles
and
all of that and stuff. And we said, oh, yeah, Kansas City didn't have no trouble. We didn't have anything like that with our celebration. We were bragging.
Right.
And now we can't brag anymore.
Right. And the sad thing about this part is that the Chiefs' 2023 season is going to be remembered by this incident. Now, saying all this, Jimmy was right. There is good in a bad situation. There was a lot of people that jumped in and helped people. Now, there were people that were running, and that's perfectly okay, because you're looking to, if you had family there, kids, whatever, friends, whatever, you want to make sure everybody is okay. But there was also people that were there to help others. Some woman said that she had her 5 kids, and there were people that were helping pick up her kids and help her get out so she wouldn't struggle as much. So with that, and that's what makes Kansas City great, and that's why I am proud of Kansas City. It is a great city. Yeah, you're going to have a few detriments. You're going to have a few malcontents. You're going to get that everywhere. I don't care if it's the most countryest, smallest town or the largest city in the world. It doesn't matter if it's in Europe, China, whatever. You're going to have the good and bad. But overall, Kansas City is a great place, and I am proud to be a Kansas Citian. And with that, we're going to take we're at halftime on Any Given Sunday on KUAW. 816-599-6893 is the phone number. If you want to call in and speak your piece, you're more than welcome to do that. But when we come back, we are going to talk football, and we're going to talk Central Midwest Football League with Jimmy Ross. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back on KUAW.
And also, we want to take this time to let everyone know we're having technical difficulties with our Zoom streaming right now. So we're streaming on YouTube. Those of you that are listening on the radio or picking us up any other way, we're on YouTube and we're on Twitch, but we're not streaming on our Facebook page right now. There's something going wrong with it. So we'll be back in just a minute.
All right, we're back for the second half of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Awesome voice, DJ Scatter, and Mr. Jimmy Ross, commissioner and owner of the CMFL. And we already had the first half. We spoke our piece about the situation that's going on. Next week, I will definitely talk about the Chiefs and their accomplishments and what they did. And my mom says hello.
Hi, Mom.
But we are here to talk about the Central Midwest Football League.
Yes, sir.
And Jimmy Ross is the owner and commissioner of the league. So,
Well, I'm actually co-owner of
Okay.
the league.
okay. So, are you co-owner with all the other teams, or just is there one or two people that you?
I'm co-owner of the league, so it's just one other person.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, Zach Dabney.
Oh, okay, cool. Gotcha. So, so this year you have 17 teams in the league.
Correct.
Now, how many did you have last year?
11.
Okay, so you've jumped it up almost 50% from last year.
That is correct.
So you are moving well. Now, I know last year there was a few downsides, but what are some of the changes that you have made from last year to this year?
For the league,
Yes.
well, bringing in additional teams and making sure they were geographically correct and so that they would fit in, so it cuts down on some of the travel with some of the teams. So that's a plus. Also, too, with the league, we are in partnership with Semi-Pro Saturdays. And Semi-Pro Saturdays will be covering a lot of the teams, as far as interviews and highlight videos. Currently, right now, Chris Dotson is working his way around to each team before the season start and just kind of introducing the teams to the public. So I encourage people out there to check out Semi-Pro Saturdays on Facebook. One of the things that we wanted to do was this coming season is stream more games. So teams are working diligently right now to set up their streaming service so that fans can be able to have options to be able to see some of these games instead of just one or two, but they can get a plethora of different games that's taking place on the weekends.
So how can you get to the how as a say me as a fan wants to watch a certain game, do you have the resources now, or are they still in process?
The teams are responsible for setting up their own streaming service, but then they will supply the league with the links to be able to push it out to the fans. So some people are going to advertise on their own Facebook page, but the CMFL fans page is where you'll be able to go to and be able to see those different games, be able to click on the different links.
So in other words, so like on Facebook, do you need to get on the CMFL fan site in order to do this?
You can get on the CMFL fan site, or you could go to the respected team site and be able to log on. So some people are going to be streaming per Facebook, and some are going to be streaming YouTube.
Okay.
So, but we'll have those links up for everyone to be able to click on and check out. And then also on Saturdays throughout, when the season starts, Semi-Pro Saturdays will be doing a pregame show, before those games kick off for the day. So we're just trying to bring more content out to the public.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you can get on Facebook and go to Semi-Pro Saturday, and then you can add on, or I think it's you join, just like you would get to add a friend.
Correct.
So you could do that. Now, saying that there's 17 teams, how many states are the 17 teams in?
Well, we have Kansas, we have Missouri, we have Oklahoma, Illinois, Arkansas.
Iowa and Nebraska?
No Iowa this year.
No Iowa
And no
Nebraska?
Nebraska this year.
So, and that's it?
That is it.
So 5 states. So that's pretty good. That does work out. Now, when does opening weekend start?
The last weekend of April.
Last weekend of April.
Yes, Saturday.
Cool.
So
That'll work.
Yep.
So now I've got to say this. Do you have your announcer ready?
Brian, you are my announcer for the Panthers.
I
the
just,
Kansas City Panthers.
I just had to have him say that. Yes. So, yes. And my gosh, what is this? My 17th, 18th year of doing this? Man, I was young at one point.
And I got to tell everyone.
Okay.
Brian calls me. It's like, hey, am I doing your games this year? Really, Brian? You're the best in the city. You're my announcer.
Hey, I just asked a question. Unfortunately, but not fortunately, I do have an ego, and so I had to hear it. So anyway,
You just wanted me to share some love. I
yes.
get it.
Okay, so based on this, how are the teams? So you said you're going to have them in different divisions. Now, how many different divisions will you have? And because there are 17 teams, not every team is going to be playing every Saturday. There'll be
some buys, yes. We are with 17 teams. I'm sorry, I screwed up on the. What's the question again?
There's teams. There's
the divisions.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How many divisions are there?
I wanted to go 2-2 on the conferences, but I think we have to wait one more year depending on what teams we bring in for 25. So currently we are going to just keep it as 2 conferences.
And what are the conferences' names?
Gateway Conference and the Great Plains Conference.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So where will the Panthers be located?
The Panthers are going to be on the Gateway Conference.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
when is the championship game, and where will the championship game be at?
Championship game will be in Kansas City this year. Okay, it was in St. Louis last year, and then Columbia the year before that.
Yep.
So we're happy to have it in Kansas City. We're in the process of trying to solidify our venue. I don't want to speak on that because right now it's still in negotiations. Limbo? Yes. So
when will the championship game be? Do you have a date on that?
It will be, if I remember the top of my head, I think it's first week of August. But it's on the CMFL fans page.
Oh,
I'll have
there we go. So go into CMFL fan site, and then you can find out that stuff. So see, we're giving you guys opportunities. Or you can even go to Semi-Pro Saturdays and ask them, and they should be able to tell you too.
Correct.
So last year you had a lot of disruptions
for the Panthers.
What did you do to fix this?
Well, when you put a roster together, it looks good. It looks good on paper when you look at the athletes, but it's not until you get them out there and start playing the game you find out where the mental part is. The issues that we had with ball players last year don't exist this year, mainly because of 2 reasons. One is because I decided to cut some people, and also some people decided to cut themselves. So we went out to rebuild our roster for this season. A lot of good guys coming in, and we'll see them next week. It'll be the first time I actually get to see them. So that was one of the things that we did. All the coaches agreed it needed to be done. It just didn't work out with that roster. Out of 27 years, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
But far as a stadium-wise, since we're talking about safety, I know the league has mandated that all the teams up their security. Its security has always been in place for our league for the last few years, but we're going to be boosting security a little extra this year. It's just where we're at in this day and age. And also, too, some teams are not even allowing any bags, purses whatsoever into the stadiums. So,
And
because I know my stadium, we have metal detectors.
right,
So
and it will still be at the same place,
correct.
which is
University Academy High School.
roughly 68th and Holmes Road.
Thank you, Brian.
See, I remember. So, to let people know that are watching this, I know, but how, these people are probably asking, how do you recruit these players? How do you find these players?
Well, we've been running for the last 3 weeks an advertisement in 39 screens for the movie theaters here in Kansas City, and I've gotten some applications off of that. We've gotten applications off of our Facebook page. We've gotten some word of mouth, and we've also contacted some of the colleges and high schools and got applicants from there as well. So
Cool.
that's how we've been recruiting.
That's awesome. So, and you said that we're going to start the end of April. So when does your preseason start? Just like the NFL, you have a couple of preseason games before the regular seasons. When does the season actually start for practice?
Next week.
So next week everybody starts practice. So it's kind of like training camp.
Correct.
And then afterwards, you guys will have a couple of how many preseasons? So will everybody play the same amount of games and same preseason? So how many games are in a regular season?
There's 8 regular season games.
Okay, 8 regular season games, and then preseason games.
Yes, but the teams choose if they want to do preseason or not.
Oh, okay.
Some people don't want to do a preseason game. They just go straight into it.
Okay.
Some teams play 2. Some do just 1. Heck, one team I think is doing 3.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's up to the teams.
Gotcha.
We don't have anything mandated for us preseason. And they can play an opponent in the league, or they can go outside the league and play another opponent.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll be making some announcements here soon on those teams that are preparing to play preseason.
Cool. That'll work. So, so we got the streaming going. We've got now Semi-Pro Saturday. They are located in Oklahoma.
Correct.
So now, will they come out and do games at certain places, or are they just going to do everything from their hometown and do it online or Zoom or however you put that?
They are trying to increase their staff to be able to go outside. I know they're covering 2 games for streaming, but far as the coverage of the league on highlights, so all the teams will be feeding highlights to the league or directly to Semi-Pro Saturdays. There's also going to be more after-game interviews from the teams, so people could be able to tune into that after they finish watching the game. So there's going to be a lot of more moving pieces to this, and it's time to just go ahead and grow. It's part of the vision that we've had for at least the last couple of years, and now people want to see more content. Instead of writing about Jackson making a spectacular catch, they want to see that catch.
Gotcha.
So that's where we're at. And then also too, teams are trying to get themselves prepared for being able to challenge. We don't do all the challenge rules of the NFL, but that means additional camera person on the sideline to be able to offer that.
So what is your long-term goal? So after this season, what is the ultimate goal? So like the NFL, they want to expand in other countries and they're doing that. What is the CMFL's goal?
We definitely want to expand into some additional cities, some states. We're not trying to compete with the NFL. A lot of these guys that play here, this is their pro league. They love trying to get to the championship game or get into the All-Star game. We just want to be able to bring more awareness out there for the young men coming up that there's an alternative to be able to continue their career and play at this level. Also, too, let the fans know that they don't have to sit at home bored because there's no NFL football going on, or if you don't have an arena team in your town, that you can tune in during the summers and watch some of these guys. There's no nosebleed sections. Ultimately, we want to be able to have our own channel, and so that we can have our own network of different content going throughout the year.
So are you looking for TV deals too?
I'm looking for maybe not far as on a maybe far as like a channel or something, or on cable, or
put it on
channel
Peacock
and everything. I don't think we got that big of a fan base yet to be able to do that kind of negotiation. But give it time. You know how I work, Brian. So.
Absolutely, I do. I am here with Jimmy Ross. He is the co-owner and commissioner of the CMFL, which stands for the Central. I always want to say Missouri. Central Midwest Football League.
Correct.
And he is also the head coach of the Kansas City Panthers, which I do announce, which I do have a championship ring.
Oh, I did not bring mine this time.
I know. That's okay. I brought mine, so I always wear it. So it's great. It's a great conversational piece. So, but I do have a Chiefs one, and so
Sweet.
People get it and they go, where did you get it? Did you play? No, I didn't play for the Chiefs. But if you really aggravate me a little bit, maybe I'll say, yeah, I did play for them a little bit. but I can truly say I earned this one.
Yep.
Now, I didn't play on the field and score touchdowns or anything. I was on the field for a second, but I coached, I announced, I was a team player, not playing on the team, but I was doing the other stuff that was necessary to contribute to the team, and that's what it means. Now, I know the NFL, like the Chiefs, they struggled this year, but they used their team cohesiveness to help them win the Super Bowl, because they went through some issues themselves, and there was a few people that they didn't like that eventually came through at the end, and you could say became a hero. So
it's called grit.
I truly agree.
Grit.
I agree with that, because what is the difference in the semi-pro football than maybe in the NFL?
They get paid.
And that's it? Is that the only difference?
They're the best of the best.
Right. So how do you make your team similar to a NFL team? Not you're not going to be that, but how do you try to get them to perform in a way
the best that they could be?
Right. How do you do that?
Well, you have to get to know your personnel. There's so many characters on a team, and trying to get them to gel, but you have to have a good base of coaches. So I've had coaches that's been with me for quite some time now. The thing about our organization is we've been able to if we see issues, then we're not afraid to trash it and start all over again.
Right.
Because I'll give you an example. The NFL has so much money to buy some of the best players, and you still have some teams that are in the tank.
Let me guess. Jets?
And they'll trash their team and start shuffling pieces. It's no different on a semi-pro level, except for there's no money being exchanged with the players. You know, you get rid of some bad apples, or you get rid of some guys that don't fit what you're trying to accomplish, and then you bring in some additional ones. And sometimes it takes just a little bit of luck, but it's trying to get guys to stay together. Ultimately, you want to try to find a group of guys that could grow up together. And I think that's the reason why the 2 championships that we have on a semi-pro level, we were able to do that. And now we're bringing fresh guys in, and hopefully this crop of guys will be the right crop of guys. So.
Right, absolutely. So we are nearing the end of Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Now, if I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to say whatever you want to say, let these fans know. I will even turn it around so they can see you. The show is yours.
I don't have a whole lot more to say. If you're not following KC Panthers on Facebook, go to it and follow us. Also, go to CMFL fans page and follow the CMFL. That's where you're going to get quite a bit of information for the league. Over the next few days, you'll start to see more and more information being put up. We want your support out there. And if there's any way that we can help you, then we definitely wouldn't mind partnering up with you. So every little bit helps. We appreciate those that's been with us for a while, but we would like to see some more people come in. Currently, right now, the guys that are playing semi-pro ball, I think the average age for my team is going to be 24 this year. That's the average age, and everyone likes to play in front of their people.
Absolutely.
And if you want to donate equipment or resources, sponsors, contact me, Jimmy Ross, area code 816-372-1960, or contact me on KC Panthers on Facebook.
That's awesome.
And thank you for everyone that tuned in. And you guys, thank you for having me on the show. Always a pleasure.
And it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And I know Darwin would have loved to have been here, but obviously his work obligations came first. So, but he will be here next week. And next week, we are actually going to have a gal whose father I went to high school with. He played professional tennis, and he is a tennis coach, pro tennis coach out here. Well, she does security at Arrowhead Stadium. So she takes care of the female people and deals with them. So she's going to come on, and she's going to talk about what she does. And so, and with Taylor Swift, we're going to find out if she got to hang out with Taylor Swift or not, or what was her role and what exactly she did. So I know we're still a couple of minutes away, but we are going to go ahead and end Any Given Sunday on KUAW. Again, prayers for the families of the victims that happened yesterday, and the families of the juveniles that caused all of this, and the juveniles themselves. Everybody needs to be protected, even them. And even though you don't want to say that right now, but yeah, it would, just make your blessings. Go home, hug your children, your wives, your husbands, your spouses, tell them that you love them. Because they may not come home one day.
Tomorrow isn't promised.
No, it's not. That is the only thing that is not promised. So, but enjoy it the best you can. And with that, with Jimmy Ross, the co-owner and commissioner and head coach of the Kansas City Panthers of the Central Midwest Football League, and DJ Scatter George Walker, who ran the show so incredibly awesome for us tonight. I am Brian Kress, the Awesome Voice, also with Coach 24, Darwin Penny, who wasn't here tonight. Be awesome, not angry, and you guys have yourself a phenomenal sports weekend.
Love you guys.